Jared Pond and the Yakuza connection. One summer day, I got off the aeroplane at Narita Airport in Japan. This was my first mission overseas, and my chance to redeem myself for the failure that led to the resignation of Prime Minister Marvin Richbull due to an exposed nude pic. To be honest, I wasn't particularly upset about my failure to conceal Marvin's tryst with the Russian intelligence operative, leading to leaked photos on social media. Although, it was fortunate that no one knew that it was my mistake to have accidentally clicked yes on the Russian spy's phone without knowing that it would release his pictures online. If Greg Steele had found out about my failure, I would be going to the big house. Instead, I was building up my career as an international man of mystery in Japan. I hadn't received a gun yet, but Greg had given me something much more important, which was a pack of the anti-toxin drug I had used to defeat the Russians, which turned out to have a very useful side effect. Aside from neutralizing any unwanted drugs that were induced to me, they were also high-grade boner pills. Make love, not war, at least when it comes to pretty women. I tried to recall the instructions on how to find my Japanese intelligence contact, Mio Kazama. My mind went blank, which was not a good start. I saw a sign saying, oranges, only 1,200 yen each. That is equivalent to $15 for an orange. This must be the way to contact Mio. No one in the right mind would pay so much for one bloody orange, I thought, and walked to the cashier and paid for the orange. Much to my dismay, the cashier didn't speak English, and I felt like a fool when I stood outside the shop at the airport terminal while holding a very expensive orange. I peeled and ate the orange, and it tasted like a regular orange. What was going on with that? One positive side effect came from eating the overpriced orange. The combination of sugar and vitamin C reminded me of the phrase I needed to say to my contact. No football is played in French cathedrals in spring. Nonetheless, who would I say this sentence to? I decided that the easiest way to spread my secret message was to go to the customer service desk and ask them to read it out via the PA system. My contact would no doubt hear it then. I walked up to the customer service desk and spoke. Hi, I'll give you $50 if you read out this message aloud, I said and handed the attendant a note. The attendant gave me a skeptical look and replied,
Is this a joke?
I shook my head and replied, No, it is a matter of global security.
Okay, give me money first, mister.
The attendant replied, Pond, Jared Pond, I replied.
I didn't ask your name. I asked for money.
The attendant replied. Oh, I'm sorry, I said and passed her a $50 note. The attendant picked up the note, studied it, and replied.
What is this?
I gave the attendant a dismissive look. What kind of moron didn't recognize a $50 note? It is a $50 note, I replied.
No, only US dollars, please,
the attendant said. I only have Australian dollars with me. In any case, it is a lot of money for just saying one sentence into the microphone, I remarked.
血まみれの外国人
which translated to bloody foreigner. The attendant mumbled, turned on the microphone and spoke.
A message from Jared Pond at the customer service desk 5. No football is played in French cathedrals in spring.
Straight after the attendant had transmitted the message via the microphone, I felt a tiny pinprick behind my neck, felt dizzy, collapsed, and everything turned black.
What part of the word secret don't you understand, Mr. Pond? Your stunt at the airport already has 100,000 video views.
I opened my eyes and I looked at the stern-looking Japanese woman, who would have been pretty if she just smiled and said, Hi, it is so nice to meet you. However, she didn't look pleased. As a matter of fact, she looked angrier than what my mother, Suzanne Pond, did when I hadn't cleaned my room for weeks. You should smile more, Mio. It would make your face prettier, I said, while giving her a naughty smirk.
Smile? You had the simplest task. You were meant to wear a red tie and wait at gate 15. What kind of moron would mess that up?
Mio ranted. Was that a rhetorical question? In any case, let's turn back the tape. I'm Jared Pond from Raki, I said, and forced a smile.
I'm Mio Kazama from the Imperial Japanese Spy Service, IJSS.
Mio said without a hint of a smile. Wow, this will be a tough one, I thought, and made it my mission to see Mio smile before I left Japan. So what can you tell me about this mission? I asked nonchalantly.
The Yakuza boss, Asahi Abe, is planning an assassination against the Emperor of Japan. We were going to offer our services as assassins in a sting operation. This was before your publicity stunt at the airport,
Mio revealed. I was getting tired of Mio's complaints. Spycraft wasn't as glorious as what they show at the movies. If I wanted to listen to this, I could have refrained from cleaning my room. I decided to sway Mio with a daring bluff. My publicity stunt is part of my method, I said.
What are you talking about?
Mio asked. I hide in plain sight. Like a rock star, no one will expect me to also work as an assassin at night, I claimed.
That could work. You're not at all what I expected, Mr. Pond.
Mio replied with a hint of relief. Yes, so close. I thought and reminded myself about all the spy movies that I had seen lately. Female agents were always drawn to promiscuous behavior due to the stress of constantly putting one's life on the line. The hint of a smile on Mio's face indicated that the Pond train was closer to reaching its destination. You should expect the unexpected when you're working with Jared Pond, the greatest agent Australia has ever seen. Let's deal with his French connection, I grinned.
French connection? There is no French person involved in the conspiracy against the Emperor,
Mio objected. And thus her smile was gone again. I thought and sighed. Okay, I meant let's deal with this non-French connection, I stated.
Whatever, Mr. Pond. Let's try to set up a meeting with Asahi, the Japanese Yakuza honcho,
Mio remarked and left the room. I sighed and I felt how a migraine was approaching. What a nightmare it would be to work with such a humorless woman. I shook it off. From a brief smile, I had deduced that she had a beautiful face hidden under the facade of anger. It was time for me to save the day and win the girl. I was wearing a pair of very baggy suit pants as Mio and I went to the executive level of a large office building in Tokyo. I wore baggy suit pants for a reason. I had taken the Raki antitoxin/boner pills, and I would rather not show everyone the side effect of the pills, my damning erection. My face was still blustering from the effect of the drug, and I hoped that no one would pay close attention to that detail. We entered the office of Asahi Abe, who was the leader of the Japanese Yakuza. To my surprise, the office was decorated in the style of a traditional Japanese palace. I questioned Asahi's motivation for building his office this way. If he wanted the feeling of a Japanese palace, why didn't we meet in his mansion? A few ninjas wearing black overalls flanked the room and added to the surrealistic feeling of the situation.
This is where we bow,
Mio whispered, and we bowed to the crime lord. Greetings! I have summoned you for a historic moment in Japan. Today, we will expel the foreign rulers and their so-called democracy. The Yakuza and the Shogun shall rise. Hyo no Shori, which translates to Hail Victory, Asahi exclaimed. Hyo no Shori, Hail Victory, the gathered ninjas and Yakuza members chanted. After a while, Asahi lifted his hand, and the chanting ended. He turned to me and spoke. Jared Pond, during your short stint in Japan, you have made a fool of yourself. For many in our culture, harakiri would be the only solution. In my culture, we seek to learn from our mistakes, and we utilize mental health counseling to deal with suicidal thoughts, I replied. That is because you have no honor, Asahi exclaimed angrily. I reflected on the crime lord's statement. I have limited experience with contract killers, but I wouldn't classify murdering people as an honorable thing to do. I didn't want to delve deeper into that discussion, so I said, I am not here for honor, I am here for the money. Word is that you have a hit out, and you're offering a large sum for its completion. Asahi gave me a sour look and replied, Dishonorable scum, there is a mission out there for men just like you. I'm listening, I replied. I need you to murder Makahito, the Emperor of Japan. His royal doctrines allowed foreigners to invade our country, and he is making us weak, Asahi said. Understood, but if I may ask, why didn't you send any of your own assassins to kill him? I asked. In Japan, the population refer the emperor as a god. No honorable man would attack him. That is where you come into the picture. Asahi sneered. Very well. When shall I strike, and how will I get paid? I asked. You shall strike tonight. I will pay you $2 million in gold bars, Asahi said and handed me a gold bar. As I held the 20-kilo gold bar in my hand, I realized why criminals preferred using cryptocurrency for their dodgy dealings. Carrying around 20 kilos in gold was very heavy and inconvenient. Don't fail, and don't run away with the gold bar, or we will come after you, Asahi warned.
私たちはあなたを失敗させません、Master Asahi.
Which means, we won't fail you, Master Asahi, Miyu said and bowed. I followed suit, and after having bowed for a suitable amount of time, we left the room with the 20-kilo gold bar in my hand. So, what is our plan? I asked when we returned to the safe house in Tokyo.
We need to arm ourselves and follow the emperor around. I'm certain that Asahi Abe had sent more than just us to kill the emperor. We need to capture the other assassins and go after Asahi.
Miyu replied. Okay, well, can you give me some weapons then? I asked.
Yes, the weapons are on the altar in the center of the room,
Miyu said and pointed at an altar. There was a large katana, a small knife, a few darts, and a few throwing stars. Don't you have any weapons that people use these days? You know, like guns? I asked.
There has to be some level of honor, Jared. Don't embarrass yourself by using cowardly weapons such as guns.
Miyu scolded. It is stupid to carry a sword to a gunfight, I thought to myself, but then I realized that I didn't know how to shoot either. Oh well, hopefully no other bad guys will show up, I thought, and I got changed to a black ninja uniform. It was time to stop the other assassins from killing the emperor. I felt exhausted as I snuck around in the Imperial Palace. I had not figured out what to do with the gold, so I had taped it to my chest, which was much more troublesome than carrying a debit card. I felt a pinprick in my neck and noticed that someone had thrown darts at me. Luckily, I had taken the antitoxin pills this time. Why are you not dying? A man exclaimed and rushed towards me with a drawn sword. I didn't have the time to answer the man's question as he slashed towards me with wild swings. Cling! The man stared at me in awe as he slashed the gold bar that I carried under my black ninja clothes and broke his katana into two. I pulled out my katana and cut off his belt, which caused the man's hands to fall off. The man started running away from me, and I pulled out one of the darts that was on my neck and threw it back at him. Much to my shock, the man collapsed to the ground and started frothing from his mouth. I walked up to the man, and I noticed a tattoo on his bum. It was a symbol of a shining sun above a wild serpent that encircled the letters IJSS. That's peculiar, I thought, turned to Miyu and spoke. Looks like the other assassin is dead, so what do we do now?
We report the incidents. We have evidence that Asahi Abe hired us and the other assassin to kill the emperor. This will be enough evidence to put Asahi away,
Miyu revealed. I nodded and sighed when I realized that the 20-kilo gold bar I had been dragging around was considered evidence and that I would lose it after all my hassle. Oh well, easy come, easy go. A few days later, I was at Narita Airport. I had saved the emperor and helped to bring down the Yakuza crime boss, Asahi Abe. A good outcome of my first overseas mission. My only concern was that I hadn't had any tryst during my time in Japan. What kind of second-rate agent went overseas to save the emperor without scoring a goal? As I was about to board my plane, Miyu broke out into tears. Her reaction confused me, as she had treated me with nothing but contempt and angry stares during my entire week in her country. Instead, she hugged me gently and sobbed.
I can't believe you're leaving Japan after spending a whole week with me without us getting to know each other better.
I gave her a sympathetic look and replied, I don't want to hurt you, Miyu, but you must realize that there was no way I could tell that you felt attracted to me, I replied.
You don't understand my culture. Angry stares are a telltale sign that a Japanese woman feels attracted to you. We smile at people we don't like,
Miyu explained. I see. I guess I better reschedule my flight to tomorrow, I replied, and gave Mio a blank look, as I was uncertain whether a smile or an angry stare was appropriate.
Would you do that for me, Jared?
Mio said sweetly, and wiped her tears away. I nodded, smiled, and replied, Of course, we cannot part without getting to know each other better. Having said this, I kissed Mio, and we walked away from the airport gate, so we could enjoy a night of passion. I smiled as I sat in a business class seat on my way back to Australia. I had saved the Emperor, seduced a sexy girl, and enjoyed a night of unbridled lovemaking. What more could one wish for after completing a man's true mission? I closed my eyes, and I hoped for pleasant images to fill my mind before I sank into a dreamless sleep. No such images appeared. Instead, the image of a wild serpent that encircled the letters IJSS appeared. I had a flashback. I had seen the serpent twice. Once on the dead assassin, and also the night before, when I was enjoying Mio's luscious body. I had a terrible realization. If both Mio and the assassin were IJSS members, neither of them would have intended to murder the Emperor. So what was this all about? I realized the terrifying truth. The Emperor had staged the assassination against himself to have a reason to go after Asahi Abe. I was the intended scapegoat, but I had been saved by the toxin-neutralizing properties of the Raki pills, which I took prior to the sword fight. The man I killed with the poisoned dart must have been Mio's boyfriend. He had seduced me to get her revenge, and the only reason I was still alive was because of my toxin immunity and because I hadn't slept all night, so Mio never saw the opportunity to kill me. The learning experience from this is that a woman who gives me death stares for a week is more likely to plan my murder than hiding her unrequited love. The end.